Welcome everybody on this technique right here, on this scenario right here. I just want you to pay attention to this technique, and I want to teach you what usually work when you want to defeat your opponent that want to pierce you or want to stab you with a knife. Right here, I want to explain different scenario right on this technique. So right here, when your opponent want to pierce you like this, it depends on how your opponent stands. So because some people do this, some people do some mistake on this, that they apply from long range, right? If you are applying from long, if you are applying from long range, you have to use your kick, right? But sometimes that doesn't work. That doesn't secure you, because it depends on how your opponent holds his knife, right? If your opponent holds his knife at his side right here, want to pierce you from his side right here to your stomach, your yang kick, your stopping kick is going to work right like this. So that is going to work when you apply this kick on your opponent, right? That is going to stop him, right, from piercing you, right? But if your opponent hand is at the middle right here and you want to apply your yang kick, that means that you are going to kick that knife. You are going to kick that knife, right? And once you kick that knife is going to pierce your feet. It's going to pierce your feet, right? So that is why you have to watch your opponent handle, how your opponent handle that knife, right? And mind you, the best way for this technique is to run. If you have chance, if you still have chance to run, but in the scenario that you cannot escape, than to fight your way out. So make sure you watch every angle of your opponent. If your opponent handle his knife at the center right here and he want to pierce you from that place, your yang kick won't work, right? The only thing that you can do from that scenario is to go like this. So you just go like that, hold that knife. Now you can hold this knife right here. You can now lock his hand from here. So like this. So like this, you can now lock his hand right here, and you now control this hand right here to pierce him at the same time, because you have already locked him, right? Lock his hand right here. So that is first thing you can do. Watch how I lock my opponent's hand. This hand go like this. So like this. Do control that hand. Pull more pressure. Pull it. So your opponent won't be able to pull that pressure, and once you have already grab this hand right here, you cannot pierce him. You cannot control this hand to pierce to use his knife against him. So that is first thing for you to do. This is another thing you can do when your opponent want to go for that like this. So just control your opponent hand. Watch how I first of all do that. I little bit go like this, control this hand to this place right here. So now I can now grab this hand, right? So once your opponent is struggling in releasing his hand from here, I can kick him here. Make sure you kick him with full force, right? Kick him here. So your opponent is going to fall down. Now you can now control this knife against him. That is another thing for you to use. Now, but if you want to easily free this knife from your opponent, once your opponent go for that, so now go like this. So control his hand to this side, and watch how I first of all attack that hand, right? First of all, go like this. Go like this. So make sure you a little bit bend, right? So now you can easily control your opponent hand to this side, right? So, and one another thing that is very deadly that you can use against your opponent, because your opponent you just use your hand also as a spear to hit him right there. So that is BG form. So once you hit him, your opponent is going to fall down. You can now follow it up with your neck up, because you can't apply that hand to your opponent's head, to your opponent's neck, and your opponent won't get weaker. So that is that about that. So, but if your opponent is applying from this side, right? So you can easily go for your neck. Sorry. So just make sure you just step. So you just do that, and that is going to secure you. But if your opponent hand, your opponent that you is that knife, his hand is at the middle, right? it will not be easier for you to kick his center, right? Once you go for that, you are going to hit the knife. Once you hit that knife, that knife is going to pierce your feet. And what is the essence of using that technique? So that is that about that. So watch every angle of your opponent. If you want to attack or you want to defeat your opponent, and with your when your opponent hold knife against you. I hope you can see this clearly. I can understand it right. And if you want to join my personal online training, in which I'm going to teach you everything in full details, don't forget to subscribe and comment that you want to join my personal online training, in which I'm going to teach you everything in full details. And if you want me to do a video on anything, want me to help you out, just drop it at the comment section. And make sure you subscribe, like it, and do a thorough training before you go out there to use your chun technique, the technique that you learn here. Don't just look at it and say that you have already noticed that, you have already know that. If you don't do thorough practice, you don't do thorough training on that, it will be very difficult for you to use out there. Thank you. I keep on training. Peace out.